Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So we're getting this Bhagavad Gita as it is. Bhagavad Gita as it is means as it is explained by Lord Krishna and as it is understood by Arjuna. Same thing, nothing different. And so I've been hearing from my spiritual master, who has heard from his spiritual master, who has heard from his spiritual master. And so we are simply trying to represent the same subject matter. And Srila Prabhupada is presenting these topics very nicely in this Bhagavad Gita as it is, so that we can understand it extremely clearly. No fudged issues, no hodgepodge, no mixed up misunderstanding, but absolutely crystal clear understanding. This is wanted. And then we can know what is Bhagavad Gita. So, you've still got a lot more to do on this, probably?
No, finish.
So we can read the Sanskrit. Srila Prabhupada has given us this, and he's taught even Westerners like myself that we can also read and understand what Krishna is saying and practice Krishna consciousness. Sanjaya Uvacha Tam Tata Kripaya Vishtam. Okay, let's try one at a time. Tam Tata Kripaya Vishtam. Tam Tata Kripaya Vishtam. Ashru Purna Akulekshanam. Ashru Purna Kulekshanam. Vishidantam idam vakyam. Vishidantam idam vakyam. Uvacha Madhusudana. Uvacha Madhusudana. So let's read the word's meaning, because the way Srila Prabhupada has presented us with this Bhagavad Gita, he's presented us with the entire Sanskrit text, original Sanskrit text, and he's given us the complete word meaning of each and every word, and then nice translation and commentary to make it very easy to understand. Sanjaya Uvacha. Sanjaya said, unto Arjuna, Tata, thus, Kripaya, by compassion, Avishtam, overwhelmed, Ashru Purna Akula, full of tears, Ikshanam, eyes, Vishidantam, lamenting, Idam, these, Vakyam, words, Uvacha, said, Madhusudana, the killer of Madhu. So here is the translation. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words. So please repeat responsibly. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words. So Srila Prabhupada's purport. Material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. Compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. The word Madhusudana is significant in this verse. Lord Krishna killed the demon Madhu, and now Arjuna wanted Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding that had overtaken him in the discharge of his duty. No one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. Everyone okay with that so far? Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. Yes? Would you agree? If somebody is drowning and you are sorry for his clothes, is this sensible? No. Okay. A man fallen in the ocean of nescience cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress, the gross material body. One who does not know this and laments for the outward dress is called a Shudra, or one who laments unnecessarily. Arjuna was a Kshatriya, and this conduct was not expected from him. Lord Krishna, however, can dissipate the lamentation of the ignorant man, and for this purpose the Bhagavad Gita was sung by him. This chapter instructs us in self-realization by an analytical study of the material body and the spirit soul, as explained by the Supreme Authority, Lord Sri Krishna. This realization is possible when one works without attachment to fruitive results and is situated in the fixed conception of the real self. Hare Krishna. So, many points to understand here that, by the way, what time should I speak until?
It's okay.
Okay, so we'll do some questions and answers. So I hope that everyone's going to be paying nice attention and you have lots of nice questions and we can discuss, because there should be questions. It is said that questions are a sign of intelligence. So we want questions. Okay. Now, the first thing is that in chapter 1, the whole setup of this Bhagavad Gita being spoken is developed. How Arjuna has come onto the battlefield because there's a fight for who is going to be the emperor of the world. The actual proper emperor of the world is Yudhishthira Maharaj, but he has lost his kingdom due to the politics and cheating efforts of his cousin brothers. So family politics is not a new thing. It was going on 5,000 years ago. It's been going on for millions of years. It was going on at the time of Lord Ram when Kaikeyi, she wanted her son to become the king because her mind was twisted by the words of Manthara. But until that envious nature came in, everything was going nicely and everyone was happy for Ram to be king. But when there is envy, then there is politics. But envy is a sign of ignorance of our real condition. Because just like children are all of the same parents, yes? So the idea being that if the children want to please their father and mother, then they'll work in nice cooperation with each other. They won't be trying to put each other down, because they'll understand that the Father is pleased when we work together nicely to please our Father. So this is the real condition of life. Now in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains who is the person. And the first thing he tells Arjuna is, Arjuna, you are lamenting completely unnecessarily. Because people who are wise don't lament for a bag of chemicals. Do you lament for a bag of chemicals? For the bag of chemicals is suffering? No. But this modern day civilization is trying to make us believe that it is simply a bunch of chemicals who have anxiety attacks and panic attacks and worry about so many things. But we can understand that chemicals don't worry. It is people who worry. People get an anxiety. But what is the anxiety? The anxiety is when we forget our real identity. Now, from the very beginning, Lord Krishna is explaining that Arjuna, you are lamenting for the body, but actually the body is a bag containing so many ingredients. Everyone knows if you open up the bag, it's got so many disgusting things inside it, yes? And you will not want to see this. It will be very bad if you open up the bag, yes? So, but we are thinking that this, mistakenly, that this bag, which is continuously changing, this bag of three elements, bile, mucus and air, this is how the Vedas explain what is the body. It is a bag made of three things, tridhatuke, bile, mucus and air. But actually, I know that I'm still the same person I was when I was 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, I don't want to go further back than that, when the body was different, yes? I had a different body, but I'm still the same person. So it is not that I am the same, that I have changed, but my body has changed. I'm still the same person who was experiencing all those things as a child. Yes? So just like you may be thinking, when am I going to grow up? Don't worry, when you get to this age, you'll be thinking, why doesn't it just slow down a bit? It will come in due course. So the thing is that under the influence of time, everything in this world is changing. People say, I'm killing time. But no, time is killing you. Actually, this is what's going on. Time is killing the body. And the living entity is, in fact, beyond the influence of time. Because the spirit soul, which is called in Sanskrit the Atman, it means simply the self, is permanent. And the body is simply a dress covering this. So just like now we're all wearing different dress, and when we go home, when we go to bed, we'll wear a different dress, presumably. And in the morning we'll put on a different dress. So always we're changing the dress. So if we may be very attached to the outfit that we wear, but actually the dress is always changing. The dress I had, the body I had 20, 30 years ago, what happened to that? Where has it gone? Where has that body gone? It is finished. Permanently finished. You cannot get it back. Is it true? It's gone forever. And actually it was only a dress. Do you lament, oh, when I was a little child I had such a nice set of clothes? What is that? So many things have come and gone. So we need to understand that self-realization means to understand what is myself. Now, this self-realization process that Krishna is explaining in Bhagavad Gita is so simple. It means, just like my hand is a little part of me, it's an important part of me. I wouldn't want to do without it. Yes, I have a connection with my hand. But supposing we take, for example, that the hand is a person, okay? Now, if this hand understands, who am I? What am I supposed to do? Oh, I'm a part of the whole being, and I'm meant to do whatever the whole wants me to do. Then this is self-realization. Similarly, Krishna is explaining we are all eternally parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, and we are meant to do service for Krishna. We're meant to do whatever Krishna asks us to do, eternally. That is our eternal nature. So this is called self-realization. And when I understand that I'm the eternal servant of Krishna, not this temporary body, this is called self-realization. And when I act on this understanding, that, oh, if I'm eternal servant of Krishna, then what do? I serve Krishna. Very simple thing. Is it difficult to understand? So Arjuna is lamenting. He's in anxiety on the battlefield because Krishna has put him in a very bewildering situation where he has to fight and kill his cousin brothers, all the armies, so many husbands, so many fathers, so many sons. Everyone is going to be unhappy because all these people are going to be killed. And he's thinking, I don't want to take the karma for that. That's really bad news. My future means if I'm causing all these people to be killed for me and my brothers, simply so that we can become back on the throne, then how will we enjoy if all the people who we want to enjoy life with have all been killed? He's thinking of his interest. And he's thinking, I'm going to get bad karma for it. And he's thinking that I should worship my teacher and my grandfather, and I shouldn't be killing them. He's got so many ideas, and he's thinking also that the family traditions will all be spoiled, and the whole society will go to hell because nobody is following the family traditions anymore. No one will, everyone will become irreligious. The families will not have anyone to guide them or teach them how to behave nicely, how to be pious, how to live properly in this world. And Krishna's hearing Arjuna say, I can see only causes of disaster in this war. So Krishna's pointing out to him, Arjuna, I want this fight. I want these people here to be killed because actually they're rascals, they're demons. And Krishna is expressing why he comes. This is part of his mission, to paritranaya sadhunam. Yes, yes, so paritranaya means to protect. Sadhunam. Sadhu means the devotee of the Lord. So the Pandavas, they are all the Lord's devotees. So Krishna is their very dear friend, and they are very good friends with Lord Krishna and very nice devotees of Krishna. So many devotees. We read in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Krishna book, how Krishna had so many wonderful relations when he appears on the earth. So, Vinashaya Chaduskritam. Here's two businesses basically. Just like in the garden, what do? Anyone do any gardening here? Anyone here is a gardener?
Yeah.
You do gardening? Okay. So what do you do with the weeds?
Pluck it out.
Get rid of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
One by one.
Yes. If you don't kill the weeds, what happens?
Garden is spoiled. And
Yes.
flowers, everything is spoiled.
Yes. So
There's no beauty.
Krishna's... Yes. You cannot have a nice, beautiful, peaceful,
flowers,
nicely
flowers,
ordered
everything.
garden
Yeah.
if the weeds are flourishing.
Yes.
So at the time of the Kurukshetra battle, the demoniac persons were flourishing on the earth. Therefore Krishna come to pluck out the weeds and kill them. Vinashaya, to destroy Chaduskritam, the impious persons, the rascals, the demons, who had forgotten and were not prepared to follow the religious principles. They were irreligiously trying to cheat their cousin brothers out of the kingdom. They'd irreligiously insulted Draupadi. They'd done so many things. And therefore Krishna, he wanted, this is the opportunity, let them all be killed here on the battlefield. So actually the battlefield of Kurukshetra was a set-up job. It was set up in such a way so that Krishna could speak Bhagavad Gita. It was a set-up so that the demons could be killed. So Paritranaya Sadhanam, to protect Krishna's devotees and kill all the demons, Vinashaya Chaduskritam, and when the weeds are uprooted, and Kamalangi, she's also very good at gardening, she knows these principles very well, that when you uproot the weeds and you establish and protect the pious plants, the good plants, then you can have a nicely ordered, peaceful garden. So similarly, Krishna is establishing dharma samstarpanataya, re-establishing the principles of religion in the human society. So this is not like today, 5,000 years later, where people have no interest in religious practice. They have no interest in God. In fact, in a lot of places you go, if you talk about religion, that's one thing, but don't talk about God. This is how much things have become degenerated. In fact, the Archbishop of Canterbury many years ago, even when Prabhupada was here many years ago, he said it has become impolite in society to speak about God. So just see how degraded things have become in the course of time. But Krishna wanted that Bhagavad Gita would be spoken. He wanted that we understand, and the basic principle is understanding what is my identity. And Krishna is doing this because the leaders of society are meant to see that self-realization is actually being practiced in the human society. If there is no self-realization, if there's no understanding of my spirit soul, that I'm spirit soul, and that I'm eternal parcel of God, and I have an eternal relationship with God, and I'm meant to serve God and perfect this human life, and at the end of life, don't keep being born and getting old and then dying and taking birth again like the cats and dogs, but actually to go back home, back to Godhead. So when we say like the cats and dogs, what do we mean? It means they're in ignorance. They have no idea who they are. Their only interest is how to eat and sleep and mate and defend. They don't require any education to mate. They don't require any education to sleep. They don't require any education to fight. You hear them on the street. Meow! They're having a big fight. Or ruff, ruff! They're giving each other so much trouble. And eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Simply fighting, whining. So this is going on without any understanding that the next life is going to be a problem. So what is this body that we're getting? Nature is awarding us different bodies. So just like the tiger. Tiger is a very strong creature. You see him? Yeah, tiger is a very strong creature, very powerful. So some living entity is desiring, I should get a nice, strong, powerful body, like a tiger, and then I can do whatever I want, and everyone will be afraid of me. So nature gives us the body of a tiger. But that is not a very good situation to be in. Because if you go in the jungle, what happens with the tiger? Is the tiger, he lives in that part of the forest, and everybody else knows that's a dangerous part of the forest because there's a tiger living there. So nobody goes in that part of the forest. So it's a very big problem for the tiger to get his food, because nobody's going to come and walk into his mouth. But he's desired this body, and nature has given us what we desire. Nature has given the living entity who desired the tiger's body his bodies to live in this way. So whatever we desire, nature is giving us that. So this is a very important point. This is what Krishna is explaining in Bhagavad Gita. If we desire to have our spiritual life, if we desire to have our relationship with God, then we can do this. And Bhagavad Gita is meant for helping us understand very clearly what is our relationship with God. So just like some travel brochure, you get a nice travel brochure and you think, oh yeah, that's a good place to go. Yeah. But Bhagavad Gita is the travel brochure for the spiritual world. We should try to understand what is Krishna's place. That it is very beautiful. There is no anxiety. There is no birth or old age or disease or death. Everyone is living there very happily with Krishna. And Krishna is inviting, come on, come home. So this information is so important for the human being. And without this information, everyone is suffering and everyone is dying and destined to desire something. Can anyone stop desiring even for a moment?
No.
So what sort of body, what are you desiring in life? What is it you desire in life? Because if we have so many desires, we're cultivating these desires, then at the time of death, we are given again another body so that we can fulfill those desires. So that means at the time of death, and we have to come back and do it all over again. Another birth, another old age, another disease, another death, and caught up in this cycle of repeated birth and death. Because if we are desiring material facilities, that is what nature will give us. So Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, they teach us about Krishna, how to desire our real identity, our real self, our real master, the person who we should be trying to please, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if we're desiring that, Krishna has made it very clear, abundantly clear, that self-realization means not how to love cats and dogs, or so many things within this world, but how to love Krishna. First, if you want to love someone, you have to know about them. If you don't know anything about them, how are you going to love them? But Krishna is teaching us that yes, try to become inquisitive, to know about me, to hear about me. It's not very difficult. Actually, you don't have to do anything. Just try to hear about Krishna. And if you like, try calling out his name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is that very difficult? Did anyone experience any difficulty just saying these 3 words, Hare Krishna and Rama? Was this a problem? Can everybody do that?
Yeah.
Please try it. If you didn't do it already, please try it now. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. So this calling of Krishna's name is very easy. The process that we saw in previous age, in the golden age, in the Satya Yuga, was very difficult. What was that process? It's called mystic yoga meditation. Nowadays people try to make a joke and present so many yogas of this and that and the other. But actually the process of yoga meditation, it takes about 10,000 years to perfect. What you will do in your maximum 100 years. How much of your time can you devote to yoga practice? And so the lifespan in the Satya Yuga was 100,000 years. So you had a chance. You could do it. And then in the Treta Yuga, what was the process? The process was big yajna, big sacrifices. First-class Brahmins who could recite all the mantras properly. And what would you need to do yajna? You need tons of ghee, tons of grains, first-class Brahmins who were properly trained to chant the mantras nicely. And by this, you could offer and sacrifice so many things, and you would get the results. You would get your God realization by the process of yajna. This was possible because in the Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, the lifespan was 10,000 years, and people had so much wealth. Now, if you want to offer a ton of butter, how much butter do you have in your fridge? Maybe half a kilo? Where are the tons of butter you need to do such a sacrifice? This is not practical. It's not recommended. How you can do it? How you can give so much gold in sacrifice? It's a struggle just to get a bit to wear around your neck or put in your ears, or around your wrists, or in your ankle belts, or wherever. Now people can't afford gold; they wear gold-plated, or silver, or just metal, bling. But the idea is that in the Dwapara Yuga, the process was even simpler, and that was to go to perform temple worship So people will go to the temple and they would worship the deity. There is still some remnant of this in this day and age. Even the church worship or the mosque worship is the same thing. It's to go to the temple and offer prayers. It's still also temple worship, but under a different culture. It's the same thing. And offer vandanam, offer prayers. But nowadays we see that this is practically disappearing. The temples and churches, they're very thin on the ground. The mosques are flourishing. But what we see, that even to do that temple worship, and to worship the deity is very difficult. That requires so many trained pujaris who can worship the deity very nicely. They didn't have little fancy little lights. They were burning quantities of ghee. They would come and offer so many flower garlands. Dozens and dozens of flower garlands. And you see that the opulence of temple worship, you can still see this in some places, like in Vrindavan, you can see that they have very beautiful offerings and the deity is worshipped very, very gorgeously. Here we struggle for a few flowers. In fact, even with the flowers, it's very difficult even to find flowers in this country which even have some scent. It's very difficult. But in this age, it is very easy, because in this Kali Yuga, the Dwapara Yuga, there was a 1,000-year lifespan. So what have we got in this age of quarrel, this disagreeable age of quarrel and hypocrisy and argument? Maximum 100 years. And who is going to live for 100 years? You don't even get the full 100 years practically. Who does? Very, very few. But in this age, the process is made very simple. Yagye sankirtane prai yajanti hi sumedasha. That those who have got good intelligence, good brain substance, they can understand that I must develop my relationship with the Supreme Lord. And how can it be done? By this simple process of sankirtana, congregationally glorifying the Supreme Lord. How? By hearing about Him, by calling out His name, by broadcasting, by discussing His transcendental qualities. This is sankirtan, altogether, complete kirtan. Kirtan means you glorify Krishna. Is that okay? You like to glorify Krishna? Glorify Krishna, just like if someone is speaking so nicely about you, then you want to listen. Oh, what are they saying? If they're speaking the real thing about you, then you will think, oh, this is very good. And you will see that other people are listening and they are appreciating about you. So both the people who are speaking and the people who are hearing about you. Yes, this is very nice. These people are intelligent. They're hearing about me. So this mentality is there in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is why it exists in us. Because it is there in Krishna. But not that we make up some mumbo-jumbo about Krishna or whatever we think. No, we hear about Krishna from authorities. We understand about Krishna from authorities, like Krishna is explaining about himself from Bhagavad Gita, from Srimad Bhagavatam. Why? From the Vedas, the Vedic literatures. Their authority. How is it authority? Just like supposing you want to know about your father. Who will you ask? If you want to know who is your father, who will you ask? Your mother, yes, because she's the authority, right? Nobody else is authority, but your mother is authority. So Veda is mother. Veda is the authority to explain to us who is God, what is the relationship with God, and how to understand and develop that relationship with God. And the process for doing that is very simple. To hear about Krishna, it doesn't cost anything to hear about Krishna. To speak about Krishna, to remember Krishna, to offer some prayers to Krishna. These are all very simple things to do, to worship Krishna. And Krishna is not asking for some massive thing. He is asking even for some simple thing. Patram pushpam phalam toyam, a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water. But what is the essential ingredient that makes Krishna want to accept these things? Duryodhana, he was expecting that Krishna will come to his place because he'd made nice big bhojan. But Krishna said, no, I'm not interested in going there because you don't have any love for me. So I'm going to the house of Vidura. So Krishna, he went to the house of Vidura, and Vidura, he was very poor. He didn't have anything there in his house. But his wife Vidurani was there. And Vidurani, she saw Krishna come to the door of her house. Her husband is not there, and she's saying, oh, yeah, what to do? What to do? I've got nothing in the house to feed Krishna. So she looked in the kitchen and she thought, oh, I've got some bananas. Let me offer those to Krishna. Let me feed him. He's my guest. He's so kind. The Supreme Lord. He's come to my house. But Vidurani, she was so disturbed that, she was so shocked that Krishna has personally come to her house. She was peeling the banana and throwing away the banana and offering Krishna the skin. And Krishna, he was taking and he was eating. And Vidura comes home and finds his wife is doing this. He's saying, what you nonsense, what are you doing? And Krishna said, don't worry, whatever she is giving me, this is the tastiest food I have ever had, because she's offering with love. Because the appetizer for Krishna to want to accept our offering is love. It's very simple. If you go in the restaurant, or if you go to your house and someone comes in and puts a plate of food down on the temple and says, here's your food, eat it. Will you feel very happy to eat like that? No. But if it is offered with love, then you will appreciate very much. Oh, this is nice, thank you very much. So Krishna, he appreciates when we offer something to him with love. He's not asking for a lot, just that we learn to love him. So this is what this whole Krishna consciousness movement is about. It's about hearing about Krishna. It's about learning about Krishna. How to offer something to Krishna. How to sing his holy name. How to offer some appreciation to Krishna. That yes, Krishna, you're actually very wonderful. You're very beautiful. And you're my Lord. I'm part of you. Krishna is declaring it. That just like the child, what is the child? The child is a little part of his father, grown in the womb of the mother, but little part of his father, yes. And this is exactly what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Sarva yonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahadyoniya aham bija pradapita. He says it should be understood, O son of Kunti, that all living beings are my eternal fragmental parts and parcels, and that they're all taking birth in the material nature from the womb of Mother Nature. So if you have mother and you have child, what do you need? There must be father. Is it possible that mother will produce child without the father? It's not possible. But Krishna is saying, you're all thinking Mother Nature, we're all coming from nature. But this modern day ignorance of completely neglecting and trying to rub out and erase from people's minds the idea that there is a Father, that there is God, is simply the culture of the asuras, of the demons, who want to make you think that there is mother, there is child, but no father. Can anyone say, I haven't got a father? Is it possible? No. Everyone has a father. You may know or not know who he is, but everyone has a father. And Krishna is saying, Aham bija pradapita. I am the seed-giving father. And he explains how he does it. Simply by glancing over the material nature, he impregnates material nature with all the living beings, all the parts and parcels. Otherwise, we have no idea how we're coming out and taking birth. But Krishna is explaining, this is how it's done. So, Just like it is natural for parents to want to know their children, and for the children that they should want to know me and have a relationship with me. Yes? Any parents? It's natural that the parents will want the children to have a nice relationship. Otherwise, why go to all the trouble of having children if you're not going to have a good relationship with them? Is there any point? So Krishna, he is interested for our benefit because he is completely Atmarama. He's fully self-satisfied. Krishna doesn't need us to be happy. But still, he's an anxiety why these living entities are suffering in the material world in forgetfulness of me. Try to give them this understanding. So for this purpose, he gives us Bhagavad Gita so we can understand. And once we understand Krishna, what is the difficulty? Krishna makes a very extraordinary promise in Bhagavad Gita, which means that we should want to know about Krishna. He says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvata tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mam iti sojam. He says, one who knows in truth, and this is the secret for going back to Godhead, one who knows in truth the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities in this world does not take birth again on leaving this body, but he comes to me. Now, that's quite a claim. Krishna is saying, just know in truth about me. What is my janma, how I appear in this world. I come of my own sweet will. I'm not forced to take a mother like the ordinary living entities. No, Krishna comes as he is, in his original transcendental form. So we should become interested to know about Krishna. So this Krishna consciousness movement is meant for learning about Krishna, not for learning about the temporary demigods and the temporary arrangements within this material world. Diwali doesn't mean simply learning about some temporary idea of this is good, this is bad, and good will triumph over bad. No, this Diwali experience from tomorrow is the pastimes of Lord Ram. He doesn't come to teach us about some temporary right or wrong in this temporary world which is here today and finished tomorrow. He comes to teach us who he is and to attract our hearts and minds to him so we can become interested to go back home, back to Godhead. He comes and displays these super excellent pastimes in his form as Lord Ram or his form as Lord Krishna to give us some appreciation of who he is. So we become interested. Oh yes, this is very nice. Let me hear about it some more. Let me speak about it. Let me remember him. Let me try to offer some prayers to Krishna. It's not very difficult. It doesn't cost anything. So Krishna consciousness is a very nice process. And this month especially, we can understand, just like everybody knows who is Damodara. Anyone know what is the meaning of Damodara?
Damu is the rope.
Okay, Damo means rope, and Udara is the belly.
Belly, yes.
So at this time, there is a very nice pastime in this special month known as the Kartik month, when Krishna performed some very wonderful pastimes. So many pastimes. Who knows some of the pastimes that Krishna performed in this Kartik month?
Lifted the Govardhan.
He lifted Govardhan hill. This is very wonderful. Just a little boy. How can a little boy pick up a huge hill like Govardhan and hold it on his little finger just like a child picks up a mushroom? Is that possible? Can you do that? Yes, but Krishna can. But his mother can't understand. She was thinking, oh, it must be Nanda Maharaj who's lifting the hill. So she can't understand that her little boy is Krishna. And she's trying to tie up little Krishna because he's growing up to be a naughty boy. She was feeding Krishna with her breast milk, and at the same time there was some milk on the stove. and it was starting to boil over. So she said, oh, I must attend to that. And so she put down Krishna, little baby Krishna, and Krishna's thinking, my mother's first business is to look after me and feed me. How dare she go off? And his eyes became very red with anger. And so while his mother was looking after the cooking pot, even though it had Krishna's favorite milk in, from the best cows who graze on the best grass on Govardhan Hill, still Krishna became very angry. And he thought, right, I'm going to do something naughty. So he took a stone and he broke the pot that was kept hanging from a swing with the yogurt. And then he stole some butter. He was standing on a wooden grinding mortar. It was his partner in crime, his accomplice. And so he climbed up on there and he stole the butter that was kept hanging from the swing. And he was taking it and he went off to a secluded place. And he wasn't just feeding himself, he was giving it to the monkeys and his friends. So he was having a little party, thinking, I'll show them. And at the same time, he was conscious that this was actually very naughty. And he was looking over his shoulder this way, and when is my mother coming? So Yasoda Mai, she comes back, and she sees the broken pot, and that Krishna's gone. Oh, this is Krishna. So how to find Krishna? Follow the footprints in the yogurt, the butter. And here's Mother Yasoda coming, and she's thinking, I must chastise Krishna. So, and stop him, because I don't want him to grow up to be a thief. Although we know Krishna is celebrated eternally as being Makhan Chor, he's the butter thief. So she took a whipping stick. What is the whipping stick? It is not meant for beating the child, but it's meant to show him, don't be a rascal, or else. So she came, and little Krishna, he became very afraid, and he's running in fear from his mother. He's so much absorbed. He's given himself to his mother in this baby form. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because he's playing as a little child, just to please his mother and father and the inhabitants of Vrindavan, and he's thinking in that way, he's thinking of himself as a little child, and here's my mother coming to chase me, and she's got a stick in her hand, and he's legging it, and he's running and running. But Mother Yasoda, Mother Yasoda, she's caught little Krishna from behind, and little Krishna, he's shaking with fear, and it's described that he has 3 lines on his neck like a conch shell, and they're shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying, and his eyes are filled with tears. And so Mother Yasoda thinking, oh, he's too much afraid, throw away the stick. And his partner in crime is the wooden grinding mortar, so let me tie them up together. So because they're cowherd community, they always have ropes. You know, you'll see with Krishna and Balaram, actually, they always had ropes. What did they use the ropes for? For tying up the hind legs of the cows, so they don't kick and knock over all the milk. Probably kick you as well. But anyway, the idea is they had so many ropes. But Mother Yasoda, she got a piece of rope, and she thought, let me tie up little Krishna. And so she was tying up the wooden grinding mortar with the rope and trying to tie it around the belly of Krishna, the Uddara, with the damo, with the rope. And what happened was it was just 2 inches, 2 fingers too short. You know, if your rope's too short, you just can't tie it together. So, all right, let me go and get another piece of rope. So she went and got another piece of rope, and she tied it together, and still, when she tried to tie it, still 2 fingers too short. Okay, let me get some more rope. So she got more rope, and she got all the pieces of rope in the house, and it was still too short. And she became very fatigued and frustrated and exasperated. And she started perspiring. What is going on here? And so Krishna, he thought, all right, she's trying her best to tie me up out of love. So he agreed, all right, let my mother tie me up. And so then Mother Yasoda, she was able to tie the rope around baby Krishna. So he's performing these nice pastimes. And so many other things happen. Do you know what happened next in the pastime? Anyone know what happened next?
Trees.
Well, what happened was Mother Yashoda's left Krishna there. All right, now you live with it. You perform the crime. Now you just stay here and learn your lesson. And so she went off to do her duties. So Krishna, he's thinking, right, first she put me down when I was feeding, and that's crime number one. And so I did something very naughty. Now she's tied me up with rope, so I'm going to do something even more naughty. And so Krishna crawled, pulling with him the wooden grinding mortar in between the trees. And then when they have these big trees, anyone been to Mauritius? Anyone? No, okay. But in Mauritius, they have giant trees. They're called Yamala Arjun trees. And they're not like this. They're like this. And they're huge, like as wide as this room. They're really solid trees. And they're hugely tall. Very, very big trees. And these two twin Yamala Arjun trees, very, very tall trees, standing there in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. And they've actually great demigods, sons of Kuvera, who've been cursed by Narada Muni to stand there as trees until Krishna comes to free them. So Krishna, he climbs in between the two trees, and the wooden grinding mortar is stuck in between, and then Krishna does something wonderful. And his friends and playmates saw him do this. He gave a big tug, and these two giant Arjuna trees, they come crashing down. And these two extraordinary, beautiful, effulgent, wonderfully dressed in gold and jewels and ornaments, these demigods come out of the trees and offer their beautiful prayers to Krishna. And everyone's watching this, all the children are watching this, no one else is around. But meantime, all this crash takes place. And everyone comes running. What happened? And there's little Krishna, looking like butter wouldn't melt in his mouth, just still tied up to the wooden grinding mortar, just, my mother's tied me up. And everybody's feeling so sorry for baby Krishna. What's going on? And they're asking, what happened? And the other children are saying, well, actually, Krishna, he was being naughty and he stole the butter and his mother tied him up with rope. And so then he pulled the grinding mortar between these two trees and they all came crashing down, and these two great personalities came out and they were offering prayers to Krishna, and now they've gone. And people are saying, come on, that can't be possible. You know, what are you talking about? Who can believe these two little boys, they're telling these stories about Krishna? They couldn't believe it. But some were understanding, well, you know, Krishna, he's always doing some very wonderful things. It just might be true. And so in this way, the talk is going on about Krishna again and again. But why are these pastimes going on? Krishna's performing these wonderfully attractive pastimes that happened 5,000 years ago. And people are still talking about these pastimes. People are still talking with great relish about Krishna. It's not just some ordinary boy did it, it's because Krishna did it. And this month is so special because Krishna, out of his kindness, he's coming and performing these pastimes and encouraging us to hear about it and speak about it and remember him and offer prayers to him. Because in this month, Krishna is so kind that in this month of Kartik, anytime you do these things, anytime you talk or hear or offer prayers or remember about Krishna or perform any of the other processes of service, you get wonderful benefit. But in this month, we get a special benediction that we get 1,000 times the benefit of any service we do for Krishna. Hearing about him, speaking about him or chanting his names, remembering him, thinking about his form and his adventures and pastimes. We get 1,000 times the benefit in this month of Kartik. This is a special blessing. So just like if your bank says, in this month, we're going to give you 1,000 times the usual rate of interest. So now's a good time to put all your money in the bank, because you're going to get 1,000 times the interest. Whatever you can get, put it in the bank and capitalize on it. Yes? Is it a good idea? Will you do that if the bank says we're going to give you 1,000 times the rate of interest in this month? It's a damn good investment. So we can take advantage of this month of Damodar and do a simple thing. Offer a little lamp to Krishna and sing these nice Damodarastakam prayers and try to understand what's going on in these wonderful pastimes and benefit immensely. This is a very simple process. Krishna consciousness is so easy. There's no expenditure. Chanting about Krishna, dance, and take nice Krishna prasadam. You have to eat some food. Why not first cook and offer the food to Krishna? This is Krishna's program. That you offer it with love to me. And Krishna points out many things in Bhagavad Gita, including how the devotees of the Lord are released from the reactions of all kinds of material activities, all kinds of sinful activities. Why? Because they eat food which is first offered to the Lord in sacrifice. So is there anyone here who doesn't have to eat? Everyone here has to eat something? Yes, everyone has to eat. But Krishna's program, that he's making it very easy to approach him, is, okay, you're going to prepare food. Don't prepare it for your satisfaction. Prepare it for me and offer it to me. And then you eat. Is that difficult? Is it a difficult thing? Just think of what will please Krishna. Understand what sort of foods Krishna likes to eat. Offer those to Krishna and eat the remnants. This is called prasadam. And the result is we eat prasadam and we're released from the reactions of so many sinful activities, all sinful activities. Not a very difficult thing to do, is it? Anyone likes to cook? Just cook for Krishna. Offer it to Krishna. Okay, so this is our Krishna consciousness movement. So much. And also try to hear and understand about Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna is saying. So, I'm being happy. Very simple thing. So has anybody got any questions they'd like to ask or discuss? Please do feel free. I won't bite. Hare Krishna. Don't be shy. You got any questions for me? Okay. Any questions? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. So, what is the program now coming up again?
Now, Aarti Guruji. Damodar Aarti.
Damodar. Okay. Very nice. So, what is the program? What is the procedure? What do we do?
Just do the lamps, offering the lamps.
Okay.
Damodar.
Very
And you have to read the translation as well, Guruji.
This is a very good thing to do. Do you want to read beforehand so we know what we're singing?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice if we know what we're singing. Because Nanda Maharaj, you know when Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill, actually there was going to be another yajna that Nanda Maharaj was going to do. But Krishna really put Nanda Maharaj off doing that yajna. Because he said, what are we doing it for? Why are we doing this sacrifice? And Nanda Maharaj was saying it's more or less traditional. But Krishna explained, if you don't know what you're doing, or why you're doing it, you won't get the full benefit of what you're doing. But if you're doing something and you know what you're doing, and why you're doing it, you'll get the full benefit of that activity. So it's very nice if we can read the translation. Do you have song sheets?
Yes.
Shall we read the translation?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So who's good at reading out loud in English? Please raise your hands. Don't be shy if you're good at reading out loud in English. Who is?
I could do.
You can. Would you like to read the translation, or we can take it in turns? Each person can read one verse. This is very nice. What you do, lift up your leg, stretch your leg, keep it straight, point your toes towards you, and keep your foot straight, your toes towards you. Pull it right up. Pull your toes towards you. Pull your toes towards you. Is that your pet? Can you be my pet? So many pets. Krishna very nice. Okay, so should we? Everybody got a sheet of the Damodarastakam prayers? So would you like to read one verse and then we can, everyone can read whatever like to read it is. Okay, everyone ready?
The Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine green of Gokula, who I,
No, the I, it's a mistake. Who?
who, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter, and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her, who ran after him with greater speed to that Supreme Lord. Sri Damodara, I offer my humble obeisances.
Who's it?
Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, whose belly is bound not with ropes but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances.
By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of